Well, welcome to the show.
This is
our view from the bench. Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brendan, bun opener for the hot dog eating contest.
And I'm Corey, towel wavering for the D-backs, and happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. We made it through the week. How was your week?
Oh, man, it's been a long week. I'm not going to lie. It's been
I know how Monday was for you, but
working Jonas on Sunday and then going Monday to Phoenix and then back on the grind the last couple of days as well. So it's just been a long week, but happy I made it. Happy we had a good time the other day. Obviously, we'll get more into that later, but how about you, man? How was your week?
Week was actually nice. Mine, luckily for me, was the opposite of you. Obviously, I normally have the weekends off, so I went out to Arizona Sunday. My parents live out there, so I was able to hang out Sunday afternoon and kind of kick it all day Monday and wait for this gentleman to show up. Again, we'll get into the game a little bit later, but we did drive back that night. Long drive, but past 2 days I've had off, been working out a little bit, did some sauna work today, man. Starting to get into a little sauna routine. It's pretty good, man. Highly suggested. You ever saunaed?
No, I'm always hot as it is and can't ever get myself cold. I can't imagine myself
Not
in a
this
sauna.
Yeah, that's fun. So anyways, that's what I was doing today. But other than that, just been here, kicking it, ready for the show. We're going to start tonight with Thursday Night Football. Happened just now. Your team, my friend, the Tennessee Titans visited Pittsburgh Steelers. Actually, a very, very close game. Pittsburgh came up 2016 to move to 5-3 on the season now. Really keeping ahead up in the race for the AFC North. You able to catch any of the game?
Yeah, I was able to come home and catch basically the entire fourth quarter. So I saw like the back and forth of how the Titans had the lead and they gave it up and then had a chance at the end a little bit there. With you, like it was a better game and closer than I anticipated. I don't know what to expect out of Will Levis yet, but he had some nice moments. I can see why they had like an intrigue or an idea to draft him in, have him kind of behind Tannehill to learn. He's got a pretty quick like release. It feels like he's just standing there and then it's just like a dart out of his hand. But at the end, he showed that he's very young and still doesn't know. He threw down the middle those last 2 or 3 times. The one guy should have picked the throw before and he dropped it, and then that one at the end he did. So, still got to learn some things and be aware. But I think in the long run, it's going to be okay. The Titans are now 3-5. I still think they should have traded Derrick Henry, but that's a whole other thing. But at this point, just see what you have with Levis, and if you end up in the bottom in a lottery opportunity and you can get a quarterback, not necessarily the top pick because Chicago's got theirs and Carolina, who also sucks. So
Cardinals too fighting for the top spot.
True. So
only one win.
Titans are decent on defense, and if Will Levis has a couple good games throughout the year, they'll probably win another 2 or 3 games. So they might not be in the bottom 5, but like 10 to 12, you can find somebody there or make a deal to get farther down. And if you really like somebody, so I'm kind of happy that they lost, but I'm also happy that I got to see Levis and kind of see a little bit of what, some flashes of what they see or what they saw in order to draft him. So it's a win-win for me, I think.
He was playing under pressure on the road Thursday night primetime game, and I think he did well. I mean, they only lost 20-16, and he had them in a position at the end of the game to possibly win it. I mean, I bet you there were Steelers fans who were kind of getting a little nervous as he approached the red zone with a good 20 seconds left. His arm can obviously make it there, and it did a couple times. Like you said, that one went literally right through his hands, but that's that zip that he could put on it, dude.
Yeah,
that guy's got an arm. There was that play where he didn't even like rear back for it. It was like it was mostly like an elbow wrist throw.
Yeah, that's
there
what
was
I'm
almost
saying.
nothing, and it was zooming.
It's like a dart out of his hand that he's throwing. There's not a big like cock back and like go into motion. It's just like a quick like boom. It's out of his hand so fast, and it goes from what I can see. Most of them were pretty nice spirals. There was a couple that were a little floaty, but I think that's more of he wasn't ready and kind of in position to throw it correctly. But overall, I think it's a good thing for the Titans. Like I said, he gets some experience and maybe learn some things. They also lose and hopefully don't make the playoffs and get more losses and get a higher draft pick because we had our run with this era or this group of guys, and I think it's time to kind of start a new one.
The announcers described Levis as having a big arm The wife was kind of laughing at that. She really hadn't heard that terminology before. I explained to her basically it just means he has a cat and he can throw it really. And like, why do they say that? His arm is bigger than something? No, no, just
Could you
throw it really
imagine?
hard. But he can. We saw that on full display exactly what that meant, and he could throw it. He could throw it
Yeah.
hard. Um, and actually pretty accurate as well. Not completely, but I mean, dude just started, so like give him a break, you know. And the Steelers defense is when you've got T.J. Watt just barreling down,
Yeah.
and both of your, you got two linemen trying to stop him, and it still doesn't work. You're trying to hurry up and get rid of the ball as fast as you can. On the other side of the ball, though, Kenny Pickett looked average again. I guess
Yeah.
I would say that's the thing. He doesn't look bad. He doesn't look good.
No.
Deontay Johnson, however, the player that we're highlighting of the night, it got his first touchdown, bro, in 21 games. 21 games. Basically, that's like a little almost 2 years almost, right? I mean, 17 games in the season.
Yeah.
7 catches, 90 yards, and his first touchdown in a minute.
Dude.
But they look okay. I think it's just their defense that really does everything, to be honest.
Yeah, it totally is. And well, that's what Steelers football has always been. It's always been about the defense, and the offense kind of either runs the crap out of the ball and
I
runs
mean,
it,
Big
runs
Ben
it,
was
runs it.
different. Big Ben was
Yeah, Big
pretty
Ben
good
was different, but it also
in
was
his prime.
predicated
In his
on
prime,
quick release to Brown at the end of it when before they
Holmes in the
traded him.
beginning.
Yeah, Holmes at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, exactly. Some of those guys and slot guys. So yeah, no, but I don't know. I
Heinz
just
Ward. Shoot.
yeah, true. Him as well. Yeah, I don't know. I just as a Steeler fan, like I mean, Pickett's okay, but like you said, he's not. And he never does anything great, or he never does anything terrible.
Nah,
He's just kind of a
nah.
quarterback.
He's
But
a stopgap for now. If they
yeah,
could build a good defense and get some like weapons around him, I don't know if Najee Harris. I think they're gonna need someone more dynamic. They need somebody like a Christian McCaffrey, that
yeah,
to
multi.
and
Yeah,
Najee's kind of like a straight down runner. I'm not saying he's not talented. That's not what I mean. That's no
yeah, it
disrespect to
just
Najee
doesn't
Harris.
fit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I just think he needs somebody that's just like extremely dynamic, like or Saquon even. Just like dude, this guy's insane. Like something about this dude is just extra. Um, but I mean, what else is the plan, dude? That's hard. Hard quarterbacks are not a dime a dozen. They're hard to come by. So I understand what they're doing and running with it. He's a pick guy, and hopefully he can improve with each game. I mean, they're winning 5-3,
yeah,
so I mean, it's
exactly.
not
That's the thing.
what
And
is there to complain about right now.
that's the thing. If they're going to win and they make the playoffs with him there, then you're not going to get a top pick. You're not going to have an opportunity to get. And then who's going? Why would you want to let him go if something you're doing with him, even if it's not great, is working? You're going to want to keep doing it and keep trying to win football games. And that Tomlin has proven in his career as a coach, he's never had a below 500 record. And they're off to a good start of 5-3 to hopefully not do that again.
Something else that just always seems to work. So why I want to stop it is Mahomes to Maotto or Mahomes to Kelsey. We want to talk about a couple of the upcoming games. Normally we talk about 3, but honestly, there's a lot of good matchups this week, so we're going to run through 4 quickly. The first one we're going to talk about is on the other side of the pond, but even farther than the normal London games. These ones are in Frankfurt. The Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing at the Deutsche Bank Park in Frankfurt, Germany, this Sunday. So 6-2 versus 6-2. AFC powers on the line.
Yeah.
Who are you taking?
Well, ultimately, I think the Chiefs are going to win. I feel like Mahomes played terrible last week. I know he had the flu, so he wasn't himself. The Chiefs themselves played terrible against the Broncos and only got 9 points. Like they need to bounce back and show that they know what they're doing, at least on that side of the ball. So I'm expecting them to bounce back and have a good game. And Miami's defense is not great, but it's not terrible at this moment. And their offense looked really bad against Philly a week ago. And I feel
Yeah.
like, you know, maybe there's a blueprint there for Kansas City to kind of use because their defense has been pretty legit this year. Because again, the offense has not been through the roofs crazy like it has been in years past. It's been more of a struggle almost most weeks for them. So I feel like the Chiefs are going to win, but the Dolphins' offense is really going to get tested again.
Yeah, for sure. Because the Chiefs' defense is actually not necessarily the weakest point. To your point of their offense being a lot worse than they normally are, I think their defense is one of their strong points,
Yep.
especially in their rankings. They're one of the higher ranked teams this year on the defensive side of the ball. I agree with you, though. As you can see, for those watching on the YouTube audience, we have both of our pictures next to the Chiefs arrowhead. We do think they're both going to come away with this one. What I kind of annoyed with, though, is why this game isn't being played in Kansas City. Like, there's no other game. I understand this is a good matchup, and it's
Yeah,
great to show good matchups to the world, but they started in London with the Jags when the Jags sucked. So why do I all of a sudden need to give Germany like one of the best games of the year and Tyreek's reunion or back at
yeah.
Arrowhead? Why? Like, come on, dude. Why ruin that? There's no other game on either of these people's schedule. I don't know. It just seems kind of lame because there's plenty of other teams that suck that they send over to London and on the other side. I don't know why they had to put this specific one there. Would have been cool to see Tyreek because I don't think they would have been. I think they know what Tyreek was and they understood the situation. I
Yeah,
think they
and
would
it's
have
not like
applauded him.
it's
It
his
would have been a
first year
nice
there.
homecoming. Yeah. Yeah.
It's his second year there. The NFL knew he was going to be there again in the scheduling. But now, is it designated as a Chiefs home game? Because if it's not, then I can
It is.
understand.
It
Oh, it
is.
is. That is
Yeah.
weird. Then I don't
Yeah.
understand. Is there a
Yeah,
thing
that's
with
why I
like?
was kind of annoyed by it. Because to your point, if it was designated as a Dolphins home game, then it doesn't even matter. It's just
Yeah,
him playing the
exactly.
Chiefs. But yeah, no, it's actually designated as a Chiefs home game, but in Frankfurt,
That is
unfortunately.
really weird. I'm surprised they did do that. But okay, so then
Anyway,
is there a thing? Well, it doesn't. Again, you wouldn't have to pick this specific matchup. That I was wondering if
I'm
there's
just
like a
saying
thing
there's
that.
somebody out of all
Yeah.
the time. Either way, it's not that big of a deal. I do think the Chiefs take it. There's this weird stat actually, um, but it's that the Dolphins are actually only good at beating other people up.
Yep.
They haven't. They're not really good at beating up people that are better than them. They haven't actually beat a team with a winning record since September 25th of 2022.
Oh,
That's a handful of
didn't know
games,
we
if
had
not
that.
almost a full season of games, because it's been a handful. All they do is they beat teams, but all of them are at or below 500. So this is obviously not one of those teams. Patrick Mahomes is good. There's a reason why they're 6-2. I know they're struggling compared to their normal offense, but they're still 6-2 for a reason. So for
Yep.
that reason, I say the Chiefs take it. I'm going with something like 33-24.
Ooh, okay, we're picking scores. I'll go 27-20 Chiefs.
Okay. All right. We do have them like a touchdown or so apart. So
Makes some bounce. I
the
mean,
next
this
cool
is gonna
game
be
that
a
we're
good
going
matchup.
with, yeah, 100%, 100%. We have an all flying birds matchup. We got the Seahawks flying into Baltimore, take on the Ravens. Honestly, the only thing I have to say about this is Baltimore is hosting this game, and they play football well, especially at home. To me, that's kind of all they need to ensure that they beat any opponent, but also top opponents. I feel like they're evenly matched on the road, but at home, there's just something about M&T Bank Stadium, as you can see here. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see the pretty graphics I'm, making for you here. For those of you listening, please feel free to check us out on YouTube. Just search Our View from the Bench. You can see all these nice things, see our faces. Come check us out. Anyways, uh, I don't see this going Seattle's way. I'll save my thoughts of the score for a second. What do you think of this game?
Well, okay. This is how I look at it. I'm with you that Baltimore at home is really good. That's like a no doubter. But for
Mhm.
some reason, this Seattle Seahawks team is 5-2. So they're like
True.
they're legit. This isn't a 2-1 week through 4 matchup where you're over 500. Like they're 5-2. They're legit. So I expect this game to be good. I know the Raven defense is really good, so I don't expect it to be a high scoring game. Thinking Geno Smith, as long as he just doesn't turn the ball over, Seattle will have a chance to win this game. Whether they do or not, I don't think they do. I think Baltimore's going to win the game, but I do think it's going to be a really like low scoring, defensive, beating you up kind of game, and I do see the Ravens winning 16-13.
16-13. Okay. The reason why I definitely see the Ravens winning, I see them scoring a little bit more because honestly, Lamar in this offense, he's throwing a lot. This isn't that
True.
run where they're getting, 8 possessions a game where they just score on most of them, or even if they're field goals, right? But they're using so much clock. He's throwing the ball a lot, so I see him scoring a little bit more. I don't see Seattle scoring too much, a couple touchdowns maybe. Um, but the reason why is I watched Seattle play Cincinnati. I was sitting with Lafayette at the what's that place called? The Doghouse at the beer garden there, and I was watching Seattle in Cincy, and it wasn't Joe Burrow that I was impressed with. It was Cincinnati's defense. It was Geno Smith just couldn't get it done when they had the opportunity late in the game to drive down and win. He was getting sacked. Now, granted, that's partial line, partial receivers not getting open, but partial him taking the sack. I mean, you have to have that internal clock, right?
Yeah,
So
true.
there was just a handful of times where it just kind of wasn't working out. So I'm with you on this one. I'm going to go a little bit higher scoring. I'm saying they drop a 30 bomb on them. They, as in the Ravens, 30-20.
All right. Hey, I mean, it's totally possible. It could be, like you said, Lamar and them on the offensive side have been humming lately. He has thrown a lot more, which is what he wanted to do when they brought the new coordinator in. That was the whole purpose of bringing this guy in there. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I did pick him to win MVP before the season started. So go Lamar.
Very true. The next game we want to talk about, this one's big, man.
This is
Or it could
always
be
big.
big, one way or the other. It could be a big L in what I'm thinking for the Cowboys. But we have Dallas going to Philly for what I believe is their first matchup of the season.
Yep.
Dallas
Not
at 5-2, going to 7-1 Eagles. Um, I'll save my thoughts. Let me hear what you have to say.
Well, like you said, this is a huge game. It's a NFC East rivalry. They hate each other. The fact that the first matchup for them is in Philly is a huge advantage for the Eagles. That crowd is nuts. I'm honestly surprised it's not the Sunday night game or the Monday night game. But things in the schedule happen, I guess. But
Can they
yeah, I
flex yet?
just
Dude, seriously.
Sunday night is a pretty good matchup. We're gonna get into that one in a minute, but
Yeah, but to your
can't
point, they
flex it.
could have put maybe Sunday night to Monday night and pushed these fools to Sunday
Hey,
night.
if you could
You know what I
flex
mean?
Sunday night to Monday night, that would be cool too. That's quite an idea there you have, sir.
I was just saying, at
um,
least if you're scheduled to be the night game, maybe why not one more day? Yeah.
yeah,
Anyways, go
true.
ahead.
That's true. But I don't know. I just this game comes down to Dak. Like if the Eagle defense is really good, like they usually are, and they make
Okay.
Dak turn the ball over and throw picks, then the Eagles are gonna take care of business really easily. But that's all there is to it. I don't know. There's nothing else I can say. It's all on Dak. If Dak has a good game, they'll hang in there and they'll have a chance at the end. If he turns the ball over, or he gets sacked and fumbles the ball a couple times, then that means the Eagle defense is doing their thing and they're easily going to win this game. I don't know how else you could look at it. What are you thinking?
Let me put it blunt. Dallas will be exposed again
There you go.
by everybody that they play. That is a top tier team, because all they do is they just love to beat up on mediocre teams. Except, of course, the Cardinals, who took it to them in Arizona. But nonetheless, all they do is take it to mediocre teams, and then get demolished by teams that are superior to them, a la the 49ers. Now, Micah had a funny quote on his podcast the other day. I heard him kind of poking fun. After they beat the Cowboys and were talking all this crap, they basically lost 3 straight games. And he kind of just put a little bit of a karma thing out there for you, because now they technically have a worse record than the Cowboys in the
That's true.
NFC. So, so kind of just a little bit of karma. But I think that kind of happens again as far as the exposure for the Cowboys. I expect the Eagles to have Dak running for his life. That line is insane. What else? Who did they trade for? Did they trade for somebody else this week at the deadline, or was it just Bayard?
No, I think just Bayard because I know the Diners got Chase
Sweat?
Young.
Oh, Young. Okay.
The sweat I think went to Chicago.
Okay, Chicago. Okay. So, but Bayard's going to make sure that the secondary is holding down CD Lamb and everything, giving Dak no openings, and that front line is already lethal. I just think that they will be all over him. I expect at least one pick. I'm thinking
Oh,
they cruise. They might be close because of garbage time touchdown. That's what I'm thinking this is. That's the only reason why I get this. I'm taking 31-20 Eagles.
okay. All right. And it's funny that you mentioned Bayard. I forgot. There's a video when he first got traded that came up that as a Titan they played a game in Dallas and he had an interception and he ran to the star
Oh, to the star, bro. Yes. He's like, oh,
and like
fits right in, dude.
yeah, so he's gonna be perfect for this rivalry game tomorrow. Too bad it's not in Dallas, the first one for him. But either way, it's gonna be good. You are
Oh,
right though.
wait till it is in Dallas.
If Dak is throwing in the ball and not being careful, there's going to be a pick or two, and the Cowboys are going to lose this game. I think it'll be 26-17. I'm not sure how they'll get to that 26, but I'm going with that for whatever reason.
All right. The last game that we had to talk about, again, there was just too many that we couldn't skip. We've got Buffalo, that Sunday Night Football reference that you made earlier.
Yep.
Buffalo visiting Cincy. The Monday night game is kind of average, I believe. I don't even remember who it is right now. That's what I'm saying. This could have been flexed to Monday night. We could have had a nice Sunday night game of Dallas Philly. Oof, that would have been good. This one is starting to get interesting, though. The
Yeah, it is.
Bengals are looking good, and the Bills are looking desperate. Signing Fournette out of nowhere is kind of weird. I understand that he's good and all that, but they are so dependent on Allen. I can see why. I guess they're trying to get running help. This one's more of a toss up. I'm still probably rolling with Cincy. How do you feel?
Yeah, you're right though. Thinking about like the standings of these teams, this is a huge game for Buffalo because if they go to 5-4, even if the Dolphins lose to Kansas City over in Germany, then they still will be ahead of them because of
Six
the
and three.
yeah they're right there. So it's a huge game for Buffalo in the standings. And Cincinnati, I mean, 4-3. I thought after 2 or 3 weeks that this team might have been done for the year. We were talking about they might not even make the playoffs, and they've turned
They
some
were one
things
and three.
around. Yeah, they've turned things around. Burrow and them feeling good. You talked about their defense last week, looking really good as well, and starting to figure things out. I think the Bengals are going to win mostly one, they're at home, but two, the
Yeah,
Buffalo offense has been so up and down and seems to
yeah,
struggle week off, week on. And with Cincinnati defense playing the way it has lately and feeling themselves and being ready, I mean, it's not like they have never played Buffalo. They played them last year. So there's a game plan
yeah.
that they obviously expect to use. I would assume there'll be some small changes, but they have an idea of what they're going to do. And if their defense shows up and makes Josh Allen and his day hard, he's just going to make Stephon Diggs mad and up on the sideline again. That's basically what we're going to see is a video of him yelling or throwing a tablet or his helmet
So
or
true.
whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, I see the Bengals just, I mean, they look like the team that's been to 2 straight AFC title games. They have started to look like them, and I think they are going to show up and take care of business.
My crazy Super Bowl pick isn't so dead yet. I think I have Eagles, Bengals. So,
Not over.
oof, it's not over. They would move to 5-3, which would put them above in the loss column, above Buffalo, and then obviously they would have the head-to-head. So this is big. I have Cincy winning. I'm gonna go with I think Lamar, Jamar. I think Jamar Chase gets at least, let's go 75 yards and a touchdown. Bengals take it 27-20.
All right. I'm going to go Bengals 24-14. But the other thing I'm thinking about too, we were talking about the Baltimore game earlier. If Cincy wins and Baltimore loses, Cincy's only a game behind them right there in the AFC North, dude. That's
What's Baltimore at right now? 6-2.
6-2. If they lose and go six
So
and
they'll be
three,
6-3.
and if Cincy
And
wins,
Pitt is 5-3.
yeah,
And Cincy would be 5-3.
the
Ooh.
Browns
The
are in
Browns
there
are.
too.
What are the Browns
The
at?
AFC North, man, that's a scary division right now.
Yeah, dude. That's crazy. Crazy to say with the Browns, but hey, props to them. Props to them.
They finally figured something out.
They're normally cellar dwellers,
Yeah,
honestly.
our whole lives.
Yeah. Someone else that's been dwelling in the cellar our whole lives. We're going to switch sports, though. Are the Clippers. Basketball is in full swing. NBA action is going ham. And it's not just on the court. Clippers, on our drive back, made a crazy trade. We literally stopped at a gas station in Indio to talk about it because it was made in the middle of the desert in the middle of the night. Well, we were in the middle of the desert. The trade itself probably wasn't made in the middle of the desert, but that's where we were. The Clippers, bro, finally got James Harden.
Yep.
I'm going to show on the screen here what exactly they had to give up. It was a kind of a pretty penny, but they got the guy that they've been chasing for, I don't know, I guess all off season, I guess you would say.
Yeah, basically, they mean all the rumors since he's ever asked to be traded was he wanted to go to Clippers. He wants to be a Clipper. And then a couple days ago, there was that Kendrick Perkins like, oh, maybe they should trade him to the Lakers, but that obviously is not going to
Bro,
happen.
so happy that like we weren't
Well, that
thinking,
was
yeah,
never going to be a real thing.
okay,
Let's
yeah,
be
good,
honest.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I mean,
but
Kendrick Perkins should not be a GM, but go ahead.
yeah, he's definitely not going to be used to saying things like that on TV.
No one's gonna take him seriously.
The funniest parts of this trade, though, for me, is the PJ Tucker part. I called it. I said if they trade Harden, PJ Tucker's getting traded because he's followed him everywhere he goes, like
Yeah,
everywhere since they've been together in Houston.
he's
So
also a good player to have. I know he's
I'm
a little
not
bit
saying
older,
he's not a
bro,
good
but he's a good
player.
player to. Yeah,
I just think it's funny that they're like attached, and then he had to go with him. So I don't know. I feel like
so
it's
break down
weird.
the trade. So what happened?
So
Who's got what?
this is where I think it gets weird. Like the
Okay,
Clippers get Harden, Tucker, and then Philip. Let me see if I can say this name right.
Philippe
Petrusev, Philip Petrusev,
Petrusev.
Petrusev. Okay, thank you. Which who
Mm-hmm.
ultimately gets flipped to Sacramento Kings for
Yeah.
draft
Mm-hmm.
picks and other considerations. The Sixers get Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, 2 first rounders, which is the Clippers 28 and OKC's 26. And then they get a
Hmm.
first round swap in 29 and two
Jeez.
second round picks. So a lot of capital
Jeez.
when you get down to it. But yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting trade from a lot of perspectives, especially the Clippers side, I think. But I know there's some other things that kind of came out of the details of how it all went down. I think you talked about Chris Haynes had some kind of a report.
Yeah, Chris Haynes kind of tweeted about it a little bit, and then, but he was also interviewed on what, NBA Today or one of those, one of those TV shows, and it kind of goes on to talk about it. I saw the interview and kind of took notes from it because it was really interesting and honestly really insightful. Apparently, the entire thing about this whole thing it actually wasn't as bad as everybody had seen. It was really only bad between Harden and Morey, but other than that, and the rest of the organization, uh, Harden turned out to be very respectful about it. He was very professional, according to all the rest of the Sixers brass. He actually wasn't fined. He didn't miss any paychecks, so none of that happened about the
Oh, that's
30
true.
days if you don't report, all this kind of stuff. He did make it to the Magic Clippers game on Halloween, just to at least watch it. But the history there was that really the issue was between Morey and Harden. He ghosted Harden for months. He barely spoke to him around the playoffs of last year. And actually, Elton Brand was the only kind of communication device that they had. He had to play the moderator,
Middleman.
as you can say, to kind of be the middleman in order to kind of keep things cool
Huh.
between James Harden and Daryl Morey. So it was just, I guess it's just, both sides are happy that it's over. And James got what he wanted. He's where he wanted. And Morey got a lot of stuff back, to be honest with you. He did have to give up PJ Tucker, which, might be a nice veteran piece to keep in your locker. He also had to waive Danny Green because they got a lot more players back than they were give up. Um, the sad part was that Chris Haynes also talked about this in his interview that Green actually restructured his deal. He had a 500 that he was supposed to make a $500,000, and he actually restructured his deal in order for the Sixers to avoid taxes. So he cut his deal to make only $200,000, and then he was cut.
Oh, jeez.
So not only did he take less money, but he doesn't even get to play either. So, yeah, kind of
Wow.
sucks there. But really, what they're doing though is Philly. This is Philly's last run with trying to put a team of what they have with Joel Embiid. I
Yep.
know they have Joel Embiid under contract, but that's pretty much it. There's nobody else under contract after this year going forward besides
Yeah.
Embiid and a handful of other options.
Huh.
Um, One of those is the Paul Reed deal. Remember that weird one where if they win
Yeah.
if they win the first round of the playoffs this year, he has 2 more years guaranteed after
Guaranteed.
that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
do
so he'll
remember
make
that weird contract.
$7.7 million next year and $8.1 million the next year. So that's pretty nothing.
Yeah.
And B will be making $51.4 million. And then there's a club option on Jaden Springer for $4 million. If he's good, great. He probably cheap at $4 million. If he sucks, okay, club option. Bye.
Yeah.
Next.
Got him.
So really they have two people
Wow.
if they win the first round of the playoffs, which I'm sure they're going to try to, and I think they're still talented enough to do so. So I'm assuming that Paul Reed is going to be re-signed, and those 2 years are going to kick in. Now they do need to pay Maxi,
Oh,
unless
yeah.
they don't, unless they want to go after another free agent that they think. I would pay him, and I would try to see if you can pair him with somebody else. You'll have all the cap space in the world
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
see
I
who
was
else you
going to
can
say
run
the same thing.
afterwards. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Same thing. I wouldn't dare let Maxi even hit free agency. I'd give him an offer as soon as I possibly could, and hopefully you keep him there with Embiid, and at least have, like you said, you have the other cap space to fill in with whoever else you need on the roster. You can fill in a whole thing because if you're only, I mean, Maxi's not making anything now, so I can't imagine he's going to be making $40 million on his next deal, like Embiid's making the 50. So you'll have cap space to fill in the roster. If you obviously have draft capital, you can make trades and acquire other people that are already under contract that maybe fit within the amount of money. And the new rules next year are going to change everything. Which that's what I was going to say too. Like this team we're looking at right now with Philly isn't necessarily the roster that's going to end the season. Like Morey could do
no.
some more things before the deadline and rework this roster completely. So who knows what they're going to look like come March or April.
And I think that's what he's going to do, to be honest with you, because even those contracts that he's picking up, especially the Marcus Morris and the Nicholas Batum one, I believe they're expiring contracts,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like 15 to $17 million. So it's like good enough, but not like, oh, dude. So if you need to get a big player, you can combine them for one to match salary.
Yep.
If you need to just kind of get two individual upgrades, you can get that at that price point. So plenty that you could do with it. And I do believe having those extra picks thrown in is what he's trying to package with another big star. I don't know if he's going to go after like a Siakam in Toronto, maybe.
I
I
mean,
know
that
a lot of
makes
people have been
sense.
talking about that. Toronto's kind of not that great. They've already let Van Vliet walk and all that kind of stuff. So,
Nick
um,
Nurse is the coach of the Sixers now.
just saying, Pascal Siakam could kind of just kind of
Man,
fit
next to
right in there.
him next to
But you
Embiid,
need
that's a
Maxi
lot of
too.
length. That's a lot of length.
Agreed, agreed. And Siakam, the only thing that I would say is that I know that he's struggled a little bit with some injuries, not as bad as Embiid has been throughout his career, but got to keep him healthy. That'd probably be
Yeah.
the only extra thing that I would say. So, I think it's a crazy trade, though. I think it's the best all around for the Sixers, but I don't think the Clipper. I literally think this is one of two things. I think there's polar opposites. One of two things happens. Either this is insanely good and nobody saw it coming. Like, wow, that's pretty crazy. These guys are good because they are four individually good players. I'm not
Correct.
saying they fit together. That's why I think it's the other one is this is insanely bad. I
Yep.
don't think there's going to be a middle. I think they're going to be either holy crap, watch out, the Clippers are legit, which I'm hoping isn't true, or told you so. Why the hell did you think that was going to work? And it's just going to
I
be. I think it's one of those two.
I could not agree more. All I've been thinking about since the trade went down, when it first went down, we were driving back. I called you so I could tell you, like, dude, you see, like what went
Yeah, I
down.
didn't see anything. I was just vibing, bro. Listening to Joe Rogan.
And the first thing I could think of was like, how are they gonna make it with like you have Russell Westbrook, James Harden, you kept Terrence Mann, you have Bones Highland, like that's a lot of guards. Like, where are these
Hmm.
minutes gonna get distributed? And if you're
Russell
gonna play
Westbrook.
Westbrook and Harden together, is Westbrook gonna go off ball? Which we learned that didn't work because when they were in Houston, they couldn't win because of that. And I don't understand where it's all going to make sense and how they're going to do it. But Ty Lue's a really good coach, so he'll figure out something. I just with Harden and the way things have just ended so badly everywhere he's been the last four teams. I think, or this is his fourth team in like 5 years or whatever it is. I don't understand how. And the other thing too is like he's an expiring deal. Kawhi's an expiring deal. Paul George an expiring deal. Westbrook's on a 1 year
Westbrook's
or with a
expiring.
second team option. Like
Yep.
this is like do or die for all of them essentially in their careers. And then if you're Ballmer, not only that, if it doesn't work out and you have none of them on the books for next year, you're going into a brand new stadium with no roster.
You want to know even something even better? Well, for us, not necessarily for them. They don't own a first or second round draft pick for the next 6 years.
Oh man, I knew they gave up a lot of picks over the years, especially that Shea Gilgis deal. But damn, for 6 years.
They
So the
don't
best
have
they
a
can do is
first
like
or second.
buy a
First
second
or second,
rounder.
Corey. Yes, that's it. They don't have a first or a second.
No one's gonna give them a first for anything they have.
No.
And okay, think about this though. Think if this does blow up, because you're right. It's either one way or the other. It's going to be good, and they're going to be in the top four of the West, or it's going to
And
blow
we're
up,
going to
and
be completely wrong.
it's going to be
Uh,
hilariously fun to watch.
I'm hoping the latter.
If it goes hilariously bad, like right away, like say February, they're just like they're under 500, and they're just
They're
like
fighting each
yeah.
other.
Do you think if you're the Clippers, you just fire sale and trade all of them individually for draft picks and whatever you can, even if they're
Yes.
rentals, like
You have to. You need
right?
draft picks, bro. You got rid of everything. And if this is trash, like, unless you have
Wow.
something, the only person that I would trust is Paul George. And I wouldn't even trust him.
Hmm.
But Kawhi, you saw how he snaked the Lakers. What have the Clippers really done for him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Like,
Well,
I
I
guess
mean,
they
to be
bow to
honest,
his
they've
every
done.
whim, but like what I'm saying is what
Hmm.
what guarantee from who do you have that's going to come back? Like, who of these four, Westbrook? Oh, I guess you have the team option on Westbrook, but again, that's unfortunately, no offense to Russ, the worst of the four,
Yeah.
right? It goes Kawhi, Paul, Harden, right? Is that what you, or do you put in Harden number two?
God, I honestly know. I think it is Paul, Kawhi, Harden would be the
Oh, you
three
think
in
Paul's
order.
one?
I mean, he's the
I think Kawhi's their best player. I think Kawhi's way better than
well.
Paul
I'm not
George.
saying
Not way
he's
better,
not
I
the
think.
better
Oh,
player,
okay. Well,
but
that's what I'm saying. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
oh,
In
okay. I was
order,
thinking of
it's
like
yeah.
importance of bringing back in free agency, like with him and
Oh
Embiid.
no, I agree with you. Importance of yeah. Paul George would be the number one to try to bring back in free agency, and then Kawhi, because I think you can probably try to get Paul's word. Whereas Kawhi, he screwed over the Lakers. James Harden doesn't even know what team he really actually wants to play for because he's been on
Right
4 different ones in the past like 22 months. So, and
now,
then
Harden's back
Russell Westbrook.
home too. That's the other thing. Like now, they're all back
Mhm.
home together. It's kind of weird. They're all from LA and playing together now on the Clippers. It's just I don't know, man. I'm with
Which,
you.
real
It's either gonna
quick,
work out cool or it's gonna be fucking crazy to watch burn.
agree. You sent me something. 3 of those players aren't even from. Well, one of them's from Palmdale. I think that was Paul George. He's from
Yeah,
Palmdale. That ain't L.A. I don't care what you say. That's Southern California, sure.
yeah.
Kawhi's from Moreno Valley. That ain't L.A. either. That's a 2-hour drive from L.A. Okay, and then somebody else. I forgot who was. Only one of them is from L.A. L.A. And I think it was James Harden, but I don't remember which one to be honest with you. So, anyways, just kind of thought of that. Keeping it with LA because I do think that it's one of those two things. So we'll see how it ends up. Think it's good for the Sixers. Could be a flip of a coin for the Clippers.
Oh man,
But
I
the
don't know.
Lakers played the Clippers last night, and we
Finally
won,
beat
bro.
him
We finally won. We won a game, bro.
in the regular
We
season that counted.
yeah, 11 straight losses to the damn Clippers. We literally hadn't beat the Clippers in 1,189 days. I had to look it up.
It was in the
That's
bubble,
how
right?
long it was until we beat the Clippers. Yeah, it was in the bubble.
That one
January or
game they
January,
played
July 20th, 2020. That was the only game that we beat them. Actually, we had beat them the game before that. I don't remember when it
before
was.
the
And then we had
bubble. Yeah,
a bunch previous. We had lost a bunch previous to that. So oh, that's just relieved. That's not really even much to talk about. I just wanted to kind of like just get that off. Like, we finally did it, dude. We finally freaking beat him. I don't know. It's not that big
honestly,
of a deal because it's
yeah,
just a regular season game, but I get the monkey off our back. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
ugh. Like I'm
But
just tired of losing to the stupid team.
that's all right, man. They can beat us as much as they want in the regular season. I really don't care because we've never played them in the playoffs, so they've never beaten us there. We had the one opportunity in the bubble to do so, and then they blew their 3-1 lead to Denver, so screwed that whole opportunity.
Good.
But whatever, man. We beat them for once in the regular season. Now they can stop chirping and being annoying. But now with Harden there and everything else, who knows if that'll actually happen?
Yeah, and why did PJ Tucker play and Harden didn't play? That was so crazy. What, you can't? You're too good to play now too. Already you're here.
Yeah, I
You're too good to
don't.
play.
The only thing I can think of, because I'm with you, it didn't make sense when they said on the radio, like, "Oh, breaking news: PJ Tucker might play," and I was like, "Why? Why is he playing and not Harden? Then that's weird." But Harden hasn't played a game yet, and PJ's been playing every game this season, so he's
So
already
he's kind of
kind of
like in game
warmed up.
shape.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
game shape, ready to go, and they probably don't. The Clippers also knew that after yesterday's game, I think they don't want to have another game until Sunday, so or at least Sunday or Monday, I think. So it gives him a
Okay.
couple days to practice with the team and kind of get some
Yeah,
kind
that
of
makes
feel with
sense.
each other and then actually play a game. And even then, I don't know if he'll play very many minutes, depending on how he feels. I would think you kind of want to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, true. It's all about his feelings. Anyways, other
Also, got to
NBA
keep
knows.
those in check though. If you're the Clippers, I mean, they do it with Kawhi, so they're gonna have to do it with him too.
Yeah, well, that's what if once you make a freaking point about doing it, you have to do it for all your stars. So that's what you do. You made your bed, you lie in it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Other NBA knows for this season so far: Memphis winless. Does Jaw change that,
Yeah.
or does it even matter?
To be
Are they
honest,
just not that good?
if they're 0-5 now, well, they lost Steven Adams right before the year started. They announced,
Always yeah, that's bad.
and then Brandon Clark tore his ACL last year at the end of the season, so he's not going to be back at least until probably March or April at the earliest. So they have no size all of a sudden, and it's not like there's a lot
Only
of
Jaren
availability.
Jackson, who
Yeah, I
just
mean
played in the
FIBA
FIBA tournament, so he's kind of probably a little tired.
exactly. So, and without Ja there now, and there Marcus Smart is starting. You have Derrick Rose there. It's a very different team. And again, with no bigs that actually know the system very well, I think it makes them obviously they can't play well. They haven't won yet, but if Ja's going to be out another 20 games, they might be too far gone by the time he gets back to even have an opportunity. Well, I mean, maybe it'll play in depending on how bad
Yeah,
it is at the start, but it's not looking good early. That's for sure.
Derrick Rose is the OG better John Morant.
Yeah,
So yeah,
when he was healthy, for sure.
when he was healthy, yeah. There's more city uniforms released.
Ugh.
Lakers just looks dumb.
Honestly, I'm
What is
so
this like?
over these. So
pyramid like of letters, bro, with a big number in the middle, bro. It looks so stupid. I'm so dumb. I don't know.
I
Whatever.
don't know and I don't care. The NBA has ruined jerseys for me because there's no more home and road. It's that association icon is the two names, and so the Lakers sometimes wear the yellow gold ones like on the road, and then they'll wear like purple at home, and then they got these. I just it's too many jerseys. Like I shouldn't have to turn the TV on and watch the game being
I
played
know you hate this.
and not know who it is based on the color of the jerseys. Like that's part of the whole thing is the brand is recognizable as a fan who's watching the game. I should be able to turn it on and know, oh, like not even looking at the score thing. I should be able to tell by the jerseys who's home and who's road because usually your home jerseys in basketball are your lighter colors. Like
Yep.
there's all these like little intricacies that make it better for the
So boring and old,
I
Corey.
know. It's not that I'm against new jerseys, but just not every year. Can we like do it every 2 or 3 years and like space it out?
Yeah,
Like
they're
the
just
NHL
dropping all
did the
these crazy. They're
reverse
running out of
retros.
designs. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, like the NHL did the
Those are
reverse
stupid.
retros. They did one, then they waited a year in between, and then they did a second one, and then they didn't do them again. I'm like, okay, I can understand that, but it's just every year it's like another jersey. I'm like, cool. I in a month or a year from now, I will never recognize that jersey or know when they wore it or remember what
Yep.
season it's from. Like
Nope.
it's
Money
just
grab,
it's
money
too
grab,
many
money
jerseys.
grab.
Yeah, it's all about the money grab. It's annoying, but it also pays my
Celtics.
bills because I work in sports merchandise. So
Yeah, so stop selling them, Corey.
I don't sell that many jerseys though.
Uh-huh. Celtics dropped 155 points in a regulation game, second most in team history. 173 points scored in 1959. Who knew that?
Well, I mean, when Bill Russell's just doing this all day, dunking it, it's a lot easier.
But they look good, of course. I think
Yeah,
they're
well,
undefeated.
yeah, and I mean, we just talked about the Grizzlies being 0-5 after who they were last year and revamping themselves. So it's 5-6 games in, but Boston's good. We knew they would be. I mean, they were in the finals 2 years ago. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I mean, they upgraded by getting rid of Marcus Smart and replacing with Drew Holiday. At least offensively, for sure. Defensively, it's probably a toss up, but I don't know. They're good, but unfortunately, we shouldn't hopefully have to worry about them in June. But we got our own worries over here first.
Yeah, sure. Seriously. Weird stat for the early part of the season. San Antonio's 2 wins have both seen Victor Wembanyama pick up the Heat down the stretch. Wembanyama has scored 32 points on 31.3% shooting in the quarters of the 2 games, compared to 33 points, 1 point more, on 72.2% shooting in either the fourth quarter or overtime in those 2 wins. So, dude's
Dude,
already clutch, apparently.
I'm not gonna lie. I watched the last quarter, if not the last half of the Spurs Suns the other night, and he's good, dude. He is really good. There was a couple stretches of the moves and how he looks. He's so big. I don't understand how he moves so like effortlessly. It looks like yeah, man, he's really good. San Antonio's good. They snuck out that crazy win at the end and against Phoenix. But yeah, I'm with you, man. He's good in the clutch. He's just good in general. The Spurs, I don't know if they're going to be able to like get in the top part of the conference of the playoffs, but don't be shocked if they're in a play-in or even flirting with that 6 seed.
So, Victor, I'm pretty sure dropped his career high tonight, 38.
Oh
He had
my god,
38 and 10. They won by 11 in Phoenix again.
they were up
I know they
20
had
at
that.
halftime.
They were up 19 after the first quarter, Corey. It was
Oh, I didn't know
39 to
that.
20.
Jeez, I didn't know that part. I just knew 20 at halftime. Yikes.
Yeah, it was 39 to 20 after one, and they each scored 36 and 35 respectively to bump it up to 20. Yeah,
Wow.
bro. And like I said, he dropped 38. Dude's insane. Dude's insane. Josh Okogie, a total of 0 points in 12 minutes. This is what happens when you build a super team, and if your 4 players aren't doing perfect all the time, you're gonna have these people that you paid very little money to do very little.
Yeah.
Yuta Watanabe, 3 points in 26 minutes. Eric
Oh,
Gordon, 7 points in 24 minutes. You know,
well, Eric Gordon's
Grayson Allen,
old
not
too.
bad.
He's been around a long time. I'm kind of
What?
surprised he's still playing.
Well, they're counting on him. So playing
Jeez.
playing him 24 minutes. I mean, shit, dude, let's get it going.
Oh,
Nurkic,
God.
7 points and 3 rebounds in 19 minutes.
Well, that I'm not shocked because the way
He's trash.
Phoenix runs their offense. It's so up and down and about motion. And Nurkic is just his knees are just they're not the same as they were when he was younger. He's so much slower than he used to be, and it's just not working. I know defensively he's a big guy, so you would think with Frank Vogel coaching there, he might be able to make an impact. But again, just too beat up, I think, in his knees at this point in his career.
Yeah, team's not looking great unless everybody else does amazing. So that's why I don't like it. There's a salary cap league. If you were playing baseball and you wanted to hire an all-star team, great,
Yeah.
but you're not. So that means you're gonna have to field people like me and Corey when you're paying people like Kevin Durant and everybody and all of his friends at the top.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Who was it? Was it Austin Rivers that talked about that? We talked about a couple months ago. We
Yep.
did an
hmm
episode. If
Everybody
you want
gets
to go
paid
back,
40
I
and
don't
everybody
remember
else
what
gets paid
episode, but if
5.
you want to go back and check out our other episodes, go back and check on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or like Brendan earlier mentioned, just search us on YouTube. But yeah, I remember Austin Rivers talking about how like most guys are either going to make like 2 million or you're going to make 50 million, and occasionally you'll get like a 12 to 15 million guy in the middle. Like it's just that's exactly what's happening, and I don't know, man. It is what it is, I guess. And the collective bargaining agreement is locked in for a while. There's nothing they can do and change how they're going to do it. And if the cap is what it is, you got to be under it. And these new rules start next year are going to make it even worse. So.
Couldn't agree more. Embiid was
This is
super
so
happy
stupid.
the other day. He got super stoked. He was just,
So
I
dumb.
think he had a blocker steal, kind of a breakaway, as you could say. He runs so dang slow because he's so big. But after he makes the breakaway layup and gets fouled, he does the freaking,
Suck
what is that,
it,
Generation X
Generation
celebration? Yeah.
X.
Yeah, he just does that. Find a big old, what was it, like 50 grand, 35 grand, something
So
like that.
dumb.
So
So dumb. It's just that guy having fun. Come on. It was a WWE
it's
thing. It's
lewd.
so lame. It's just a
Yeah.
fucking thing. It's just
I have something
funny.
that I can say about it, but I know a lot of people will maybe not like it. So let's keep moving. De'Aaron Fox sprained his ankle, out indefinitely. Not a high ankle sprain, not from what the reports had, so shouldn't be too long, but kind of hurts the Kings. Honestly, the
Yeah.
Kings are kind of stacked though. They have a pretty good roster. He is their best player in my opinion, obviously, but again, not a high ankle sprain. Hopefully he's out for maybe a week or so. So something kind of sore. We'll see how soon he
I
gets back.
mean, the only good thing about it, if you're the Kings, is it's early in the year that he's having this and not, in the middle of it, and you've already kind of figured out whether you have a chance or not. Still
Yeah.
early. I know they lost to the Warriors yesterday. God, Warriors, man, they look like they're having fun again, like they used to a year or two ago. It's kind of weird
Yeah,
how that
well,
happens.
like you probably heard Draymond Green say they are. Yeah, last year wasn't that fun. He didn't even like to come to work, and this year is a little bit different. So, basically, he said, "Fuck Jordan Poole, you
Yeah,
bitch, get out of here, bye, go
I
have fun,
mean
losing by
that
20, but doing cool layups and dunks at the end of games."
that video for Steph against Dylan Brooks the other night where he totally deked him a couple times and he's running down the court like, oh my god! Like I was just that's the Warriors. That's what makes them good is that energy that those guys have when they do shit like that because they
And they're
do
having
stuff
fun,
that
man.
I mean they do stuff that we've never seen before and they're just doing it so effortlessly and they're just having a good time and yeah, like you said, that's what they've always been about. So hopefully the Warriors are right back in it because if it's not going to be the Lakers, I'm definitely okay with the Warriors winning.
It's mama, there goes that man again. Steph Curry is Steph, especially Steph, bro. He's just
Ah,
insane,
so
and that
much
was
fun.
so nasty. I love to see it. I know he's the best defender, especially the best wing defender, if you ask anybody. But Dylan Brooks getting cooked is so funny to watch. But
Yep.
it's not. It shouldn't be that surprised because it happens quite often. Just ask LeBron James in the playoff last year.
Yep, absolutely. Poking the bear, man. Don't poke the bear.
Not quite playoffs, but a tournament nonetheless.
Oh my gosh.
NBA's in-season tournament is coming up. Honestly, I know that you're super stoked for it. This is probably one of the things that you marked on your calendar. You couldn't wait until November 3rd. You're gonna sit down. I think you called out, right? You took the whole weekend off just so you could sit down and watch as much of the NBA in-season tournament as possible, right? That's
Oh,
what you're super excited, or
it's funny. I do love basketball, but no, I did not do that. The weirdest thing to me though is like all I kept thinking about all this like off season when they talked about this coming, I was like, well, one, I'm not gonna care about the in season tournament. Like I just care about the games that ultimately affect the standings for the playoffs.
right?
But also like besides you telling me on the TV if I'm watching it, oh, welcome to the in season tournament game, like how in the world am I even gonna know or tell the difference? Like what's the point? Like, how are they
Yeah,
going to do that?
there's nothing that's gonna make it special besides obviously whoever wins it gets money. But you're paying people who are 100,000ers at the least, but millionaires most likely. You're paying them a little bit of extra money to play the sport that they already are paying, getting paid money to play. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I know they're gonna have new courts. That'll be one way
Oh,
that you'll
so
be able to
that's
see the
how I'll know.
difference. Yeah,
Okay.
it's super important. So they made a new
I'm
court for
surprised
it
they
as
didn't make
well.
new jerseys that have like a big thing that says in season tournament on them or on the back. Or I mean,
Well,
we make
they
jerseys
kind of
for
did.
everything.
They kind of did because the city tourney jerseys that we just talked about are debuting for at the tournament.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, so they kind of did in a weird way, not technically, but kind of technically at the same time.
Oh,
So
God.
weird. Again, we have the brackets on the screen for the YouTube audience. You can kind of see. I didn't take all notes of all the games that are coming up because again, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I
No,
don't
it's just
care.
regular
It
scheduled
does
games.
matter about the game. Like you should try to win the games in the sense that they for your overall record,
Yeah,
but
but
it doesn't. There's nothing extra special about it, and you shouldn't really go all out for it, especially if your game plan is to sit certain players at certain times for rest and all that kind of stuff. Lakers teams with championship hope should not care.
yeah, absolutely. And they probably won't.
The courts that we were talking about here, showing them on the screen for the
So
YouTube
dumb.
audience, they all pretty much look the same. They are the same general design. They have the team colors depending on the team, obviously, and maybe some sort of small city representation. It kind of matches the logo that's on the City Connect jerseys, if you think about it. The Clips, the Rip City, the
Oh
purple
my
Utah, the
gosh.
5,280 feet for the Denver
Denver.
Nuggets. So they are all tied together in something that you can buy yours for only $119.99.
Oh my
Let's take a
gosh.
closer look at some of them, just so we can kind of see the little bit of details here. It's got a
Oh
picture
my
of the
god,
cup.
those are terrible. Those are
It's
so
got
loud. So, okay,
exactly.
hold on, back up here. So,
Okay.
the Lakers normally play on like a regular like parquet floor, like
Yeah, like a
wood
light
color.
wood.
Yeah, light
Hmm.
wood color. That court is straight up yellow
Yellow.
with a purple stripe down the middle, like a racing stripe. What are we doing? That nugget one is terrible. That yellow
Look at the
doesn't.
Knicks though, too, bro. A completely orange court,
Okay.
bro, with a blue stripe down the middle.
And the Lakers are wearing black jerseys on top of that yellow court, right? That's what they're going to wear on top of that, is what you're telling me?
Yep.
Oh my
Hmm.
god, that's terrible. Those are
Yeah. The
those are
court is
horrible.
dumb to me. The jerseys that match it are dumb to me. This is just another money grab by the NBA, which
Of
made
course.
$10.58 billion in 2022, by the way. And something akin to like a Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game kind of thing. Real football fans just want to see the football, but all the others are there to kind of eat it up. And this is like this T Swift shit, basically. It's like, yeah, but you get this shiny trophy and extra money. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, she doesn't bring
Oh
anything to the game. This trophy doesn't bring anything to the game. It just brings attention and money. And what does the tourney do? Attention and money. Exactly what Taylor Swift does. Apparently, everybody's trying to come up with their own way to just randomly bring attention and money, but it brings nothing else. Nothing
dude,
else, in
I'm
my
looking
opinion.
at this New York court and am I like having double vision? I can't even read the New York. It's like got multiple colors going on, or is it
Yeah,
on
it's
top
because
of
they're
each other?
white with their normal orange down below. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's
What? And the other thing too is I'm thinking, okay, like we talked about, most teams, winning, going, competing for a title are not going to care about this in season trophy necessarily. If one of the teams that's like Orlando or some like smaller market OKC that wins it, do you think they hang a banner for this? Like have a ceremony and in the middle of the season at a game and like hang a banner that they won the in season tournament? Do you think that's going to be a thing?
I'm not frozen.
Okay, what happened?
You really think that's gonna happen? They're gonna have a fucking banner, Corey?
I'm hey, I'm just saying
No,
the
dude,
I'm
the
pretty
team
sure
that
the Kings
does
have a banner up for summer league title. So what's the
at their
difference?
practice facility.
I mean, I would hope only
You can
at
put
the
it up at the
practice
practice
facility.
facility. You can put it up at the practice facility.
I
Do
mean,
not hang it in your arena.
I got to find out if the Kings like have that banner up there.
Oh no, Corey, no, no, no freaking banners for those stupid insane. No, no, move it. No, no, no,
Oh my
no,
gosh, that's so
no.
funny.
Let's wrap up basketball with that. We do have some college football big games this weekend. As we're starting to get into
Yeah.
the heart of the season and towards the end of the season, these are where the matchups are starting to become really important, and where you really start to see some of the teams that are good try to build that resume. Some of the teams that are hanging on, see if they can keep adding to try to stay with it. And some of the teams that are not doing so good, kind of falling off. We're going to start with the two polar opposites. And in the Pac 12, going with Washington, number 5, visiting number 20, USC, coming here to the Coliseum. Um, you and I immediately know where this was going. There is
So
no
bad.
hope for this Trojan squad. They are a disastrous group of football players, and I don't mean that as individuals. I just mean the results that they have on the field. They are
Correct.
probably stand-up gentlemen. I mean no disrespect, but the way that they're playing football right now is not winning football. Washington should take this one easily. No,
Absolutely. The only way SC wins this game is if Penix has like the worst game of his life tomorrow or this weekend and throws like 3 picks, and the Trojan defense that we saw in the first couple weeks or even last season where they had a bunch of created turnovers and that's how they kind of made themselves look good last year. If they don't do that this weekend against Penix, then Washington's going to come into town and just wipe the floor with them, which at this point I'm kind of rooting for because I feel like if Washington or Oregon meet up in the Pac-12 title game at the end of the year, whoever wins that could possibly sneak into the top 4 and be in the college football playoff. I'd like it to be Washington just because I think
same.
it'd be hilarious and funny for Washington instead of Oregon of all teams on the last year of the Pac-12 to make it there. But I don't know, man. It's SC's so not good on defense. I mean, they allowed Cal to score 49 points. We're talking about Cal. Penix and
Yes, not with
Washington.
Aaron Rodgers.
No. And then not only that, doesn't SC still have to play Oregon after Washington?
Yes, at
So
Oregon.
how? Oh, geez, that's gonna be terrible. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm with you. I think Washington's just gonna walk all over them, win by like 25, 30 points or something crazy.
Washington's winning by 45 points.
Okay, all right, mark it here. You said it.
Another game. It's an SEC matchup. All SEC got a couple all SEC matchups.
Yeah, big game.
LSU, number 14 LSU, heading down to Tuscaloosa. Alabama and the Crimson Tide, number 8. We're split on this one, actually.
Yep.
I, as you know, am holding on to the dynasty, me and my dynasty loving self. Going for Alabama. I think they're going to take this one at home. They did have that slip up against Texas, but since then, they've been really good against pretty decent teams.
Yep.
LSU does have their number a lot, though. How do you see this one going?
I'm I'm like you said, we split on this one. I'm going LSU. I think he's gonna win this game. I don't know. I just these two go back and forth and kind of dominate college football back at least in the last couple years. I know LSU hasn't been as good since Burrow left, but I just feel like these two teams are and Georgia are always at the top of the SEC. And
Yeah.
this is a big game because if Alabama as a number 8 can beat 14 LSU, they're going to go probably up in the standings to maybe 6, and they're not right there knocking on the door of the college football playoff again, which we thought, a month and a half ago, we talked about Alabama not looking good early and being slow in the standings. Like, man, could they not make it into the playoff? The last year, there's 4 teams only like this, but here they are. If they win this weekend, like you think they will, they're going to be right back in it. I don't know. For some reason, I just have this weird feeling LSU is going to go in there and kind of shock the world and catch them off guard, and maybe Alabama ultimately kind of drops below the 10, and then that with 2 losses, they won't have a chance.
No, not at all. They'll barely have a chance with the one that they have, but at least it was against Texas. The only problem is Texas has since dropped a couple games, one specifically to Oklahoma, which would be fine, except Oklahoma just lost to Kansas. So the more and more it
Oh,
kind of unravels, it looks like
yeah.
not that great of a loss for Alabama. I think Alabama slugs one out barely. I'm going with like a 24-20 kind of thing. I think it's going to be close. I think LSU's got a good team, at least good enough, especially because these teams play so close all the time. But we'll see. These are the rankings that we have here are not the AP rankings. These are the first college football playoff rankings
That is
of the
true.
season. So, which brings us to our next game. And surprisingly, doesn't have Georgia at number 1. I know they've been kind of beating up on everybody, and everybody just kind of assumes they should be number 1. But the first week of college football playoff rankings has Ohio State 1 and Georgia 2. Georgia hosting Mizzou this weekend. How do you see it going?
Well, Georgia's going to win. That's not even the question. The question more is like how many points are they going to win by? But I think
Yeah.
part of the reason Georgia's at number 2 right now is they haven't really played anybody that good either. Like Missouri's number 12, so this is a legit opponent this week, so that might help
Yeah.
their standings next week. But yeah, I don't know. Missouri's okay. Georgia's going to take care of business. Like I said, it's just a matter of how many they're going to win by. And if they win, and like we talked about Alabama, if Alabama wins, and then ultimately they even have to possibly play each other in the SEC title game. Like I said, Alabama can sneak back into the college football playoff if things kind of break their way here. But yeah, Georgia's too good. They're not going to lose. They're going to win out, I think.
Yeah, like I said, the college football playoffs have Georgia at 2, but the AP poll has them at number 1. Either way, Ohio State can suck it. Go blue, go dogs. Georgia wins by at least 20. If they do, I'm saying if Georgia wins by at least 20, I think they move back to number 1. Honestly, a win, kind of to your point, depending on who Ohio State plays this week, a win should move them as long as Ohio State's not playing a ranked team, which this year I believe I went and looked. They should be playing 3 ranked teams, including Michigan at the end of the season. They beat them all, obviously, except Michigan. They beat Penn State, and I forgot who the other one was earlier in the year. But Georgia plays 4 ranked teams, so if they beat them all, and honestly, Washington played 4 ranked teams as well if they beat them
True.
all, and technically 5 if you count Washington State, who was ranked at some point this season but is currently unranked. So,
Okay, yeah,
um,
they're right there.
should be close. I do have Georgia winning, and like I said, I think if they can win by 20, they move back up.
Not a bad point. Like you said, if they can get a big win, because Ohio State's had good wins, but they haven't had really any dominating wins. Even the Penn State game was an ugly, I think, 10-point win at the end, or even 7. I think that if I
Yeah.
remember right, Penn State had a chance at an onside kick they didn't get. So it's not like they've
Yep.
beaten anybody bad, but they have beaten some good teams.
Yes, and that game was at home, so it's. I mean, as much as a win is a win. If they were at Penn State, it'd be a little bit different, but they were at home, so
Yeah, true.
maybe might come into play if Georgia's able to take care of business against ranked Mizzou.
Yeah.
Well, there is one thing that we didn't kind of talk about. We're leaving to the end, and
Yeah.
doing so because as much as we are happy, we don't want to smile because it's over or cry because it's over. We'll smile because it happened.
Yeah.
We did have some fun. Like we said, we
Man.
went to Game 3 of the World Series. It was fun while it lasted. Diamondbacks gave us a great ride.
Yep.
Had a blast. Honestly, going to Arizona, going with you, bro, super super fun.
Yep.
Had fun
Agreed.
rooting them on. Honestly, the team really never quit. I think we just ran out of gas, man. We couldn't hit towards the end, and
Yeah.
even though Gallen was doing pretty well in Game 5 through 6, hitless really. Eventually, those that $300 million payroll is going to kind of kick in, So,
Yep.
um, it is what it is. Happy that we didn't quit, and congratulations to the Rangers on your first World Series title.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, it's not like it's against a team we don't like. I hate or any kind of
Yeah,
players on the team that I hated from. Like,
love Corey
I
Seager, dude.
love Bruce
Honestly,
Bochy. I like the Rangers organization. It's like I
I like
said, it's cool for
Garcia
them to
now.
win their first title ever. So that's cool on their first try. But I'm with you, man. Even though we lost, like
Not their
we had not.
first try.
No, I said the third try. My bad.
Oh, okay.
But the fact that we got to go to a game, it was cool. Like you said, at least Game 3 was close. Like the bats just didn't show up in Arizona for them,
Nah.
man. We just runners in scoring position. I think the night we went was 2 for 7. I think the last couple of games it was basically 0 because the game 4 was over before it even started in the 5th or 6th inning. It just Texas is really good. And I mean, if you go back to watch a couple of our episodes early on, we did an MLB preview, I think, after the All Star break and kind of picked early. And I picked Texas to be in the World Series. I just had a feeling with Bruce Bochy and the way he does things, and he's even keel and keeps them going. It just made sense. But it was a blast, man. I'm with you. The driving out there by myself the morning of, and then meeting up and going to the game. And like you said, it was a good game. We had some rally towels going. We had an opportunity in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. We just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd
Yep.
was super into it. I mean, there
Yeah,
was
dude.
I don't know how many "Let's Go D-backs" chants started around us just
Dude,
randomly when they were
the whole
down.
game. The
Yeah, it was
whole
constant. It was.
game. I liked it, dude.
I don't think in my entire life that I've been to that stadium, I don't know, probably a dozen times now. It's never
Yeah.
been even remotely half full, probably for a game.
Well, I
But
mean,
that
granted, it was a
place,
World Series
I know,
game, but
but
still.
still, as a Diamondback fan, you go to the games and it's always kind of half full. It's a big, huge stadium. Nobody wants to
Or
go
half
because they're
full
not.
of other team.
Yeah, or that. And this was not. It was like 95 to 98% Diamondbacks. There were some Ranger fans when
Of
we were
course,
there on
yeah.
Wednesday. At least I'm sure there was more on on Game 5 when they were clinching.
Yeah.
But it was a blast. I'm super happy that we did it and that we win. Definitely won't forget it now that I've gotten to work a Stanley Cup final, work an NBA finals, go to a World Series game, and yeah, man, it was a blast. But like you said, just when this team started early and they were hot early, and I think mid May, I think I was texting like, bro, this team's pretty good, man. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
fun,
I know
dude.
it's early, but we know. And then we started. We had a rough July and August, I know, and they kind of snuck into the playoffs at the end. But
Hey,
I
great
I
playoff
think they
run,
had a
bro.
good squad. The problem is when you get there, you got to win it, man, because you're never going to get back. The same squad's not going to come back next year. That's exactly the same.
Yeah.
We're going to lose some guys in free agency. It's going to be a different team, so we probably won't even make the playoffs next year. I wouldn't be shocked. I would hope we do like the Royals back in 2014, where you lose and the next year you come back and win the whole thing.
That'd be cool.
Um,
Which
I
is
don't know.
we're a small market team like that too, so I feel like
Yeah,
that's
I know it's
possible.
possible, but it
I feel like
just
we said, we have Seawald. Maybe he can, have him for next year. It's one of the reasons why in one of our previous episodes, you said we traded for him because he has a
yeah,
second year of next year. We
that's
have some
true.
people. If we can try to re-sign some of this bullpen folks,
Yeah, true.
that's
And
really
then
the heart of our, kind of run was our deep bullpen and just timely hitting. So,
yeah.
yeah, we'll have Manny or Gabby, not Manny, Gabby, with another year of experience and Corbin with another year of experience because he kind of disappeared a little bit. Cattell had his great run.
The
I don't
only
know. It
thing
was really
I'm
good.
the only thing I'm worried about is because we're on Valley Sports in Arizona and all the TV stuff with Valleys. I'm afraid that something's going to happen and they're not going to have enough money to put into the team to bring more pieces in to like fill the void. Because I feel like one more legit 2 or 3 starter guy in the starting rotation would be a good piece.
Yeah,
I think
Gallon and Kelly are great.
yeah, I think another 2 or 3 person right there in the back end, and then Fought coming back,
Fought.
and what's his name, Mantiply or whatever, the other young kid.
Multiply.
And then what's the young? Oh, there was a young lefty they had early in the season that I kind of lost track of where he went, but
Oh, I forgot
Tommy
him. Yeah.
Henry, I think was his name.
Hmm.
So they've got some pieces, but I think one legit free agent starter and maybe another left-handed bat. I think the outfield is good. I mean, I think third base would be the only weakness, just because Longoria, I can't imagine will be back. So maybe another third baseman.
Well,
Um,
we have Rivera,
Rivera,
right?
yeah, but if you're platooning him already with Longoria, he can't be that great as an everyday guy for the whole
I
year.
can
So
see
there's
you.
got
I
to
can see.
be
Maybe you're just trying to give Longoria playing time because you signed him, and
yeah,
you
that's
want that
true.
veteran presence. I don't know because he DH sometimes too.
Yeah,
Longoria
true. You
did.
know what
So
I hope happens? I don't know if it's going to. I haven't heard any rumblings if Longoria is going to retire or not yet. But if he does retire, I kind of hope that they
a
bring
little
him
bench
back on the
coach.
coaching staff. Yeah, just like a developmental guy with the infield, working guys on the infield, like how to ground balls and stuff. He
Dude,
was
he
always been a
knows.
good defender.
She knows his shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think he'd be a good guy to have around, and he just seems like an all. I mean, he came up really young when he was in Tampa, so he is a baseball guy. He was
Hmm.
drafted out of high school. I just feel like he'd be good on a bench somewhere just to be a veteran kind of leader, and maybe ultimately be a coach in the long run. But I think, or at least a manager. But just I think on a coaching staff, he'd be nice to have.
I could totally see that. I was also happy for Scherzer, former
Yeah,
D back. He made his MLB debut for the Diamondbacks. So 15 years ago now? It was in
yeah.
2008. So cool that he was able to go and win it again at Chase Field. I know we had our security staff over at the pool making sure that nobody could
That
swim.
is
So
not gonna happen.
yeah, happy nobody could swim. But honestly, like I said, not too upset. Upset that we lost, but not upset that the Rangers won per se.
Yeah, and it just like I said, it's the worst part is that's it, man. They're not gonna be back there. I don't think so. I mean, it took 22 years in between their last appearance and now. So
Yeah, well, maybe we got a better GM now, and maybe that we were on the stage within the age of social media. Maybe we grab some more fans.
yeah, true. Yeah,
Maybe
which
we'll
is
be
all
able to get
is
sell some merch. Now we got extra money from going and playing in the World
playoff
Series
shares.
and
Yeah, that's true.
all that
That's
kind
a
of
good
stuff.
point.
So you never know. You never know. Maybe this is something that we can build off of. I'm never saying we're turning into the Dodgers or the
No, no.
Red Sox or perennial baseball, powerhouses like the Phillies are or anything like that. But we can be, like the Rays, who seem to kind of just hop into the playoffs every once in a while, make
Yeah,
a little
true.
bit of a run. I feel like we could do that. So hopefully we can keep this, and maybe Corbin's the start of that.
I
Kind of
mean,
going
he's
over the
gonna be here
pictures.
another 7 years, so I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Perfect, perfect. Going over the pictures that we have on the screen for the YouTube audience here. The bottom left is us walking up. The bottom right is where we were kind of sitting, kind of see our seats. Honestly, I think we had a great view of the picture of the field, great
I
view of
do
the
too, man.
game.
I know we were kind of
We weren't
high
too
up, but
far.
it was
Yeah, it was
it was
expensive
good.
to sit there, and we ain't rich, so
Yeah,
the one
absolutely.
straight above that is actually Randy Johnson throwing out the first pitch to Luis Gonzalez, which is also on the Jumbotron on the upper left picture. You can kind of see them being announced to come out. And then Corey and I leaving the game. Yeah, it was with a loss, but again, had a lot of fun. Fun story though, as we were walking in front of us, one of the guys that was kind of near us was just kind of like mad. He's like, "Oh man, this
Oh
sucks,
yeah.
oh dude,"
What do we
and he
do
kind of turns
now?
to you. He's like, "What do we do now?" And you're like, "Oh man, it's all good, dude. If we can come back tomorrow, maybe get this other one. We're back 2-2 and anything." He's like, "Do we riot? Like, should we riot?" And then the guy next to that was rocking right next to him was like, "Nah, dude, we're not Philly or LA.
Yeah, right.
We lose with class, man. It's okay. We lost, we lost. It's all good. We move on."
And
I
then
was like,
after
"Yeah,
that he
that's
goes,
so true."
"So do we cry?" And I go, "Oh, you can a little if you want. Like, there's
Yeah,
nothing
man.
wrong
If you,
with
oh,
that
he's
if you need to let it out."
exactly. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. But
No,
yeah, man, we left the game and it was cool. It was a good trip. It was a
it
fun
was a
trip.
blast. The other funny thing, we have to tell this story because I think this is hilarious. So we get there in time to sit down, see the starting, rosters because it's the first game in Arizona, so they're bringing out both teams' complete starting lineup and everything. Do the national anthem with Jordan Sparks, who's a former or an Arizona native, all that cool. And on the screen,
Oh,
they show a
I was
video
wondering where you're
of
going.
the airplanes, like the Air Force or whatever, flying nearby in downtown. You're like, oh, there's gonna be a flyover. So as they're singing, we're looking up like, all right, where's the flyover? And then the song and the fireworks go off and the song ends and we're sitting there waiting, where's the flyover? Where's the fly? And then it never happens. And like
Again,
those
I don't
things
know.
those things
I
are
don't want to be
loud.
too much
I've
of a
been there for
conspiracy
a couple at
theorist,
Angel
but that
Stadium for opening days and they are
exactly.
loud as shit. It shakes the building in the stadium. So I'm sitting
That's what
there
I'm
waiting
saying.
for this loud noise and this shake and it never happened and then we all just kind of look around like, okay. And then what, like 5 innings later, like, oh, highlights of the game so far. And then they show a video of the planes flying over the stadium, like an under view, like you're looking up and seeing it. And we all both like, that didn't happen. Like we didn't
Yeah, we
see
didn't see that at
airplanes.
all. The only thing that we talked about, because my parents don't live too far away from there, is that maybe they did it early and then they recorded it and they kind of moved on. I don't know, because we did hear jets earlier. Now they do live kind of near the Air Force Base, but maybe that was them kind of taking off to go and do it, which was before we had even left to the game. So
I just thought
all in
that was
all,
bizarro.
yeah, it was crazy.
Hollywood
All in all,
man.
it was super fun. It was super, super fun. Had a great time again.
Yep.
Sucks that the Diamondbacks couldn't pull it off in the long run, but they gave us one long show, and it was super fun. So
I
thank you
think the other
again.
thing too, it shows because we're the only Diamondback fans probably in the state of California that most people know. But everybody who knows us has been like reaching out to us on social media and like texting us like, "Hey man, rooting for you guys." Like everyone, even Dodger fans that we're friends with, were like, "Yeah, we're rooting for you guys. Like you guys beat us. Like we want you guys to win. Like who cares about Texas? At least it's not the Houston Astros. At least that we lost to."
True,
But like I said, then it's hard to be mad that they lost because one, we weren't supposed to be there. So the fact that we had this run, that we got to go be a part of it, was awesome. Texas, I got nothing bad against any of those guys on that team, and I love Bruce
congrats.
Bochy, so it's all good. They won their first ever. We got that opportunity and took advantage of it 22 years ago. They finally got theirs, so it's all good, man. It was just a lot of fun. That's all I can say.
100%. That's all for the normal part of the episode here. We got one more, and like you said, Rangers won theirs, and first time in history. So we're going to talk about a little bit more history. Let's move to this week in sports history. This week in sports history. So this week in sports history, we got both on the same day. It kind of just had to happen. I thought they were both very interesting. Let's go with what had just happened again. Let's get it out of the way again. I'm kind of sad still. On November 2nd, 2016, Chicago Cubs win their first World Series championship since 1908 when Ben Zobrist hits a go-ahead double in the 10th inning, beating the Cleveland Indians 8-7 in a crazy Game 7 that was actually delayed by rain earlier. Chicago was the first club to overcome a 3-1 series deficit since the 1985 Kansas City Royals. And they broke that 108-year drought of World Series win. Crazy.
Dude,
Billy Goat
that is
curse.
man. First of all, the curse being broken after all those years because we heard about it our entire lives. I'm like the Rookie of the Year movie when the kid's on the Cubs. That movie
Mm-hmm.
talks about it all the time. I love that movie.
Yeah, great movie.
But for them to win and like in the 10th inning and that whole rain delay in the middle of the 8th inning, 9th inning thing, it just what a bizarro series. And for them to come back 3-1, I was really hoping the backs were going to do the same. But too bad.
Oh well, no worries. Also on November 2nd, taking it back a little bit more though, in 1990, which I think was crazy because the reason why I like this one is because you can see how far the NBA has come. Currently, if you think about it, the top two or so best players in the league are foreign players, and the top prospect, who is the rookie, is also foreign from France. Jokic from Serbia, or from Serbia? No, yeah,
I
Serbian.
think so. Yeah.
Uh, and then Giannis from Greece. So we have international players. So on November 2nd, 1990, the Phoenix Suns beat the Utah Jazz 119-96, but it was played at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium. It actually marked the first regular season game played outside of North America by any major professional sports league. The teams met the next night also in Tokyo, and the Jazz won 102-101. Crazy, huh?
Dude, I would have never thought that one, the NBA was the first sport to play
Right.
outside of North America. And two, I'm kind of surprised it's Japan first. Like that wouldn't be the country I would think would be the first one. I don't know why that didn't come to my mind, but that's crazy that they played over there. And obviously they did 2 games to get off the back right there off the top of the season. But
Yeah.
man, what a 1990! Wow, I didn't realize they had been doing it that long. Those international games.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. If you like these sports history facts, hit that sub button. We got them every other episode, basically, because on the other episodes, we have other facts that Corey has from our MILF Mondays. Hit that sub button and follow us there. There's plenty of other places to find us as well. Where
Yeah,
do they find
remember
us,
you
Corey?
can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you want to watch our video version, like Brendan said, see our faces and all the cool things that we make for to show you guys. You can check us out on YouTube by searching Our View from the Bench.
Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at OurViewFTB. We'd love to talk to you there, shoot the shit, talk about some sports. Love it. Um, Only one day left in the week for me, at least Friday. I do have to go back to work after 4 days off. My boss texted me and made sure that I remembered that I was coming to work tomorrow.
Ah,
Again, it's followed by the weekend, so it's only one day. Can't complain. But that's pretty much it until more NFL weeks, more NFL football this weekend. Anything else on your plate? I'm sure you're working concerts and games and
man.
freaking circuses and
So normally we talked about last week. We're gonna try to do our episodes every Monday, Thursday, and of course, as soon as we said that, next week my schedule is totally screwed, and we're gonna have to do one on Wednesday. So
perfect.
stay
Okay,
tuned next week, Wednesday. We'll have an episode up.
mid
Um,
episode week,
but yeah, it's I've got a
midweek
Ducks
episode.
game on Sunday. I've got Doja Cat concert on Monday, and I think another game. I don't even remember, dude. To be honest, I'm just trying to get through Doja Cat because that's my settlement. So I'm just like so focused on getting through Doja on Monday because I know it's going to be a long day, and then I'll be ready for our episode on Wednesday to like you said, talk about some football over the weekend, and I don't got to stress about the Titans losing this weekend because they already did that tonight, so I'm good.
I don't have to stress about the Cardinals losing this weekend because they just always lose. So
Yeah,
no more. I
there
don't
you
have
go.
anything to worry about.
I got to just worry
And
about
the
Pat
Diamondbacks already
Mahomes and
lost. So
fantasy. Yeah, Diamondbacks already lost. Like I said, man, it
yep,
was a good run. We had a good time. It was worth it for sure, and definitely a team that we as fans will not forget.
not at all, not at all. Thank you all for hanging out, and seeing things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.